That's a fire way to start the interview.
It
Okay.
might be worse than
I
Fireball.
I have a question from Yat actually. What's your favorite type of track and track creator?
Um. Well, I. It's hard for me to say because I like GPs and I like GPs more in Halo 4. But towards the end of my career, I was more of like an SX driver in Halo 4. So I'm
Hmm.
probably gonna say SX. Even though I'm kind of bad.
No one likes GPs.
All right, Diggle. Um, Going into Mirabilis, uh, explain your whole situation with how you got to be at Mirabilis because it's kind of a cheesy situation.
Well, I was on vacation. I started my vacation after last week's race, and I was supposed to stay until today. I was gonna leave actually tonight. Um, but I felt hungry to race, so I decided to drive 3 hours home to come race.
Was
And
it worth it?
uh, yes and no. Um, yes, in the fact that as long as the rejects drivers actually show up, we'll make the team championship. Which I have a feeling both of them might not show up to one race, and I'll cry. Um,
Hear that, Rebel? He's roasting you.
yeah, I'm roasting Rebel right now. Um, but I I just didn't feel good about this track. Like I didn't have enough time to prepare and like find a decent line. Um, and that was kind of my downfall. As you could see from the race, I was a lot
Well, the
slower than
fact that they
everyone
had
else.
they had a group of like 8 people practicing for a freaking hour before the race. My eyes were still googly by that time, and you were getting home, so we were kind of screwed.
Yeah, I like just got home when they started that lobby, and like I didn't have any time to do my like pre-race ritual, which is sleep for 2 hours.
Oh yeah, you gotta get the sleep, you gotta
Like,
get the Mountain Dew, you gotta get the FAP.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
can't do all
the
that, it's not
FAP
gonna
for
be a good
sure.
race.
But yeah, as you could tell, I didn't do very well this week. Um, I had some quality starts the first moto, and the second moto we're not going to talk about. But
I don't want to talk about the cheese, and I held you up at
the
the start.
cheese
We're not gonna
fest.
talk about that.
Well, I would have probably gotten that position anyways.
Oh,
So sad. Um, I can relate on the start of the race because I haven't had a nosebleed in like 2 weeks, and my nose started bleeding 15 minutes before we had to start practice, and I was pissed. I was about to, I was about to start practicing, and then it just started oozing out, and I'm like, dude, you gotta be
I would have
kidding
been
me.
so mad.
It's so gay. They usually don't happen around race time, but whatever. New question from chat. How do you think you will do next season with the new skilled drivers and the fact that the golden with the new skilled drivers? End question.
Considering I am one of those new skilled drivers. Um, wait, what the hell? Golden State
It's
Warriors?
good to get.
What? Fuck you, Roman. All right.
For YouTube, the second part of the question was, and the fact that the Golden State Warriors are getting better? Question mark.
Fuck them. Um, fuck KD. But considering I am one of those new skilled drivers, I guess. I don't know. I still feel pretty good. Um, I feel like I feel like I can get top 5 in the season next season. I feel like I'll get at least one overall. A few heat wins, few moto wins. As long as I
For
don't get
sure.
cheesed.
What type of track do you think that overall is coming at?
Um, let's go with a go kart track.
Ooh,
Yeah, let's go
spicy.
with a
You're
go kart.
probably right, honestly. I want to do another go-kart track. That'd be fun. Hopefully people vote for it. So I'm gonna get your input on some of these points positions. So one of the big questions is Hunter. He has potential to go from 4th to 8th in points. He's not gonna go to 9th, but he could go from 4th to 8th. at the end of the wild card night. How far back do you think he's going? Fourth to eighth or less?
Um, is Hunter making any of the wild card races? Is he going to be in any of them?
He can't do them. His
Oh, he
season's
can't.
locked.
Um, oh, well, that changes everything. I feel like the racers that are like right behind him, I think they're gonna pass him. I think you could definitely see him drop down to eighth. I don't think it's very likely that he'll keep fourth. Um, I think he'll
Definitely
drop
not.
at least 2 or 3 positions.
So you're guessing around seventh?
Yeah, I still think he'll make the champ series.
Oh yeah. He's not in danger of getting knocked out by anyone else, but
Oh, okay.
like that's impossible. But he can go all the way to the end of the top 8.
But now that his season's pretty much over until the champ series, so
He just has
I'd
to
say
watch
I
it.
th- I
It's
think
gotta
he'll drop
suck.
3 positions. He'll go down to seventh.
Okay. Well, another stat that shows that it's likely, out of the top 8, he actually has. All right, I'm just making sure this is right. Out of the top 8, he actually has the least top fives out of everybody in that top 8, with 8 top fives. Uh, the other couple people that are close, Roman and Rebel both have 9. Blades has 10. Ump has 11. But still, like the fact that he has the least, it's probably pretty likely he's getting cheesed out.
Yeah, I'd say so.
What about? It's actually funny because it includes you. So for the other wild card spot, Camby's pretty much locked in with one of them with his win. But for the other one, you have Bean, Vulcan, and and you can't really do it off points now. You can get really close, but you might be able to pass Vulcan, but not Bean.
Um,
Uh,
yeah, because I
but
joined
you need
so
a
late in the
win to
season.
qualify.
Um,
Vulcan needs points.
honestly, it could come down to like if any of us get an overall win, like if anybody in general gets an overall win, like that wasn't in contention. That's just like boom, guess what? You have a wild card spot. Um,
Mm.
so it's gonna it's gonna put a lot of pressure, like especially on like the 3 of us, to try to race as hard as we can. Um, try to get that, try to get an overall, try to get even a moto win would like go crazy.
So do you think any of you guys are gonna get a win to mix it up?
Um, I mean, any of us can go off at any time. I know Bean, like, as, as much as I love him, I don't think he tries hard enough. I feel like I don't think he really tries at all. Really, like I felt like if he was more aggressive, um, he could definitely be a top 5 driver. Um,
Hmm.
Logan just if he didn't rage quit a lot, and if he took the time to get better, and I feel like he would be a top driver. Um, and then if I don't get cheesed, then I could win.
Your point about Vulcan rage quitting is actually very accurate because we looked at it, and even with him rage quitting, like his mulligans are so bad that even with the rage quit, he still gained points on Bean. He still gained more points on the night than Bean with the frickin' rage quit. That's how bad his mulligans are.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that's why I'm saying it might actually get pretty close between him and Bean if Vulcan has a decent night.
Decent.
Like I kind of hope Vulcan doesn't rage quit. I feel like rage quitting is like the worst thing you
Yeah,
can
me
do in
too.
the race. Like I'm not gonna take you seriously if you rage quit races. Like if anything happens to me, I'm staying in till the end. Majority for most racers in the league. But like I don't know. I feel like rage quitting is kind of just like you give up. You're not supposed to give up.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, I mean, there's always. I mean, come on. There's always people in the back that he's definitely faster than. Like he
Yeah.
can still scrap a few points. And if he did scrap those few points, he might be like less than 5 away from being.
Oh yeah.
He's so freaking
He
close.
would. He probably would be ahead of Bean if he didn't rage quit.
Hmm. So I mean that's all I really have for points. I guess we could do. I didn't do this with detail, so maybe you guys can both pitch in on this. What are your guys' predictions for uh, winners at the wild card races? East Bay is the first one, so let's talk about East Bay first. How do you guys think that's gonna go?
East Bay.
Sanchez getting a win at least once.
Yeah,
One
I
time.
think there's no way like Solange won't win. Like I feel like he's the only one that knows like a really consistent line on the track, and it's because it's his track. So I feel like Solange will take an overall. Um, and then other than that, like it's pretty much a toss up. Like if Pancake shows up, I think he's probably a lock for a podium. Um, and then
No,
like either the second or the third place finish is like up in the air really. Like
Mm.
anybody could
I'm
take
gonna
it.
put some pressure on him. I'm gonna throw Rebel under the fucking what's out of that shit. Okay, he's getting a win on East Bay.
I, I think if Rebel practices East Bay, he'd easily get a win. That's all he needs to do is practice it, find a consistent line. I think he'd easily take a win there.
I mean that could be the story for anyone though. Like if you practice the track enough and you find like a really quality line, like I don't think like I feel like anybody could take the race.
Last time he did that was Carpentaria, and that was like way in the beginning of the season, and he swept that, and
Mm,
he was easily like the fastest out of anybody. Like he had a line that he could hit perfectly consistent, literally 9 times out of 10, and no one else could do it 5 times out of 10.
yeah.
It was stupid.
I hate that track.
So
It's not always about the fastest line either. It's more about like the more consistent line. Um, I feel like this is since I'm relatively new to Halo 5 racing. I feel like a more consistent line is a lot better off than the fastest line because a lot of the times the fastest line is a lot more inconsistent.
yeah, it's always more dangerous. Um, so how about Dublin then? How do you guys think Dublin's gonna go?
That's a GP,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, it's a GP.
Yes.
A GP is another one of those that like anybody could take it. I'm gonna throw it out there. I think Detail's pretty good at GPs. I think Detail could take an overall here. Blades could take an overall.
Uh, Luke's gonna race. Could mix things up.
Yeah,
That
Luke
one's a
Actually,
little
races.
bit harder.
Detail and I are both racing Dublin and not racing East Bay, so
That one's a little bit harder. Like GP's like all
Yeah.
over the place.
Is it a
the
double
GP
header
might
or
see.
is it like week after week?
Yeah, yeah, doubleheader.
Okay.
I think it
Season
is.
ends with
I,
doubleheader, tripleheader, because Champ Series.
I couldn't give you like a good answer. It kind of depends on who shows up. Like Fireball, he'll probably be there.
Mm.
He could get a win there
I
at any time.
I think he gets a moto win on the night. I don't know which track, but I think he gets a moto win on the night, easy.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Blades should be there. Really, you better pray to God he's there.
I'll rape him.
Okay.
Well, interesting predictions for wild cards. Let's jump ahead a little bit. So, well, actually, first let's take it back. Real deal. How was your first moto, or just walk me through both motos for you at Mirabilis?
First moto, I had a fantastic start. Um, I obviously like I was really slow compared to a lot of the top drivers. I felt like if I had more time to prepare and more time to practice, I would have easily gotten that podium. I felt
Mm.
like I probably could have like if I kept up with Roman and I like copied his line, um, I feel like I wouldn't have lost any time. I would have probably been a lock in for that third. The second moto, um, due to that just cheesy start, um, I I started out like really back in the pack, and then just got like just my race kind of fell apart after the start, and I finished like ninth place, eighth place.
For second moto?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You
I
know,
know I
getting
made
10th, 6th first moto and 10th second moto.
I know I made a few passes. Papa in the beginning like raced me really hard. Um, and that kind of sucked. He kind of threw off my rhythm a little bit, like just trying to battle with me, and like he was racing really aggressive, and that kind of like threw me off a little bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know I was with Rebel a lot of the time. Um, he wasn't really too aggressive though. He was definitely faster than I was. I think probably like 7 racers out of there were probably faster than me.
Mm.
I say I was probably like the eighth fastest.
I mean, for a guy that didn't practice,
So,
that's pretty damn good.
I mean, overall in the night, you still did, for overall finish, you still finished ahead of Rebels, so it's definitely worth, for team champs, I mean, it's obviously worth for you to show up.
Yeah.
Not as much individually. I mean, if you, obviously if you had a better night individually, you could still be maybe in points contention to pass Bean and Vulcan that way, but
Yeah.
the team champ certainly helps. All right, so I was gonna ask another question about. I was talking about it a little bit during the race. What do you guys think the potential is for both of you for Soul Reaper
I agree
as a
with what you
driver?
said. I know I said that like yesterday. I think he has that kind of thing that Fireball did. Or, and he was doing pretty decent for a guy that really hasn't raced. And just with
Mm.
some like practice and just like learning like Halo 5 physics and how they work, I think he could be a top driver. Top 10 at least.
It seemed like the only part he was really slow was the chicane. Every
Which
other
makes
part he
sense.
was pretty good.
Like that's something you'd expect
Yeah,
someone who doesn't race.
Yeah, I
mm.
think if he
I mean,
wanted to start racing like consistently, I think he'd be a pretty good driver.
there's people that race consistently that couldn't take that chicane.
Oh yeah.
Cough,
So
cough.
I don't.
Hunter.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think Soul might actually be a late second round pick, maybe even early, for next season,
Yeah, I hope he
as long
continues
as he
to
keeps
race.
showing up. Yeah, me too.
And just getting
He's
more
Britlander
drivers.
too, and he seemed like he's pretty clean,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I didn't have too
or
much
at
of a
least
problem with
tries to
him
be.
in the. I caught up to him steadily in the second moto, but I ended up not being able to get by him. Um, but he was pretty clean, I think. I feel like
Let's close it out
that's the
with.
case for anyone.
Let's
Sorry.
close it out with final question. We got. We still have the question of whether an MCC series is happening, and Rebel just reminded me of this. Guys down for an MCC series?
100%.
100%.
All right, I think we have enough people to do it. I want to
You have
get
at
it
least
started up
8
soon.
people in my opinion. At least.
Hmm.
That one.
Man, if we can pull 8 each night for an MCC series, I'm happy with that. Because when we did it, we were only like on an average night we'd get 4. MCC was so dead. So it'd be nice to actually have good races on there.
That'd be fantastic. I feel like MCC has one
Well,
of like the best mongoose physics.
oh, absolutely. I think it's the best. Like it feels like a perfect mix between Reach and 4. It's got like the slide action of Reach, but it's got the speed of 4, I guess. It's kind of how it feels to me.
It's just
Yeah,
hot.
it's great.
And the physics aren't
It's really fun
retarded.
to race.
Off MCC physics are dope.
And there's some really quality tracks that like a lot of people just like overlook because there was like no racing on MCC. Like Kitty had made some like crazy good tracks on MCC.
Hmm. I know my brother has some fire ovals for when we need them. Literally some of the nicest looking tracks I've seen.
Oh yeah.
I changed my mind. Let's close it out on this. So no, I was gonna ask this earlier and then I forgot.
Oh, you
Champ
suck.
Series is coming up. What do you guys? Who's your prediction just straight out for winning Champ Series?
Blades.
Yeah.
Blades is
I'm
like
gonna
fast on everything, so it's the most logical pick.
I'm gonna I'm gonna go with Blades as well, my teammate.
What about 2-3?
Uh, Ump, Slaunch, probably Slaunch over Ump though.
Papa
4, God, Roman's up there
and
too.
third
Fireball,
place. I'm
Christ.
going with a wild card. I'm gonna go with Fireball third place.
I'm gonna go Slaunch second. I'm gonna throw. I'm gonna throw Ump fourth. I mean third, fucking shit. Then Roman fourth. Fireball fifth.
Mm. Low key, if there's some cheesy races in there, I feel like Roman might have a shot at being like a dark horse because he's so consistent in each type of track. I feel like he could just sneak in like thirds and seconds and end up winning the whole thing somehow.
I feel like he's gonna get hit with the cheese. I don't know. His leg, you gotta count that in.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's why I don't think Fireball will win. Like I think he'd have a better chance, but he's gonna get lag
Cause
cheesed and it's not gonna happen.
screen leg sucks massive dong. It's bad.
Oh yeah. Remember Ogagia where I pass him like full tires on him and then he just goes flipping off.
Oh, yeah, that was awful.
His screen lag's the worst. Well, thanks for the interview, cheesers. Definitely try to do this for after wildcard, I hope.
Yeah, no.
Someone in the chat gave me a suggestion to name my GP track.
Foxy Grandpa GP number 2.
Oh, you slut.
Gotti GP.
I got a Gobi and name this one Gotti.
Fuck Kevin Durant GP.